You can turbocharge the growth of your money tree with a few simple tricks that I'll share in this video. I've got over 200 plants in my home that I've been growing for over 10 years now. And the money tree is one of my bigger, beefiest specimens. He was a fairly little fella when I got him, but he's flourished into this big, beautiful stallion in no time. So let's talk tips so that you can do the same to yours. Let's start with a cheeky bit of scaremongering first. You see this bit of Christmassy looking tape tied around the trunk of my money tree here? Well, the death of a money tree this will make. Trust me, we want to get rid of this ASAP. Lob it in the bin. It might not look like mine, but something will be on yours there ready to do untold damage. We know why it's there, of course, to tie the trunks together in this nice braided fashion so it looks all pretty and the seller can make a few bob in the shops. But the trouble is, folks forget about these and the unthinkable happens. The trunks get thicker with age and with the tips I'll share in this video, and this bit of tie starts to strangle the trunks. So not only will you not grow your money tree 3 times faster, you'll probably end up saying a prayer and burying him in the back garden. You might not know that your money tree isn't actually a single plant. It's basically 4 or 5 plants bundled together and braided to make it look like one big bushy specimen. Take a look inside the pot and all the industry's secrets will be revealed to you. It shook me to my very core when I found out anyway. Now, I'll let you in on a little secret. Size does matter. Sacre bleu, Mr. Sheffield, I knew it all along. Don't get too excited, I'm talking about the plant world. One of the worst things you can do to your new money tree, or even your existing one, is to take him out of his pot and upgrade him into a more spacious home. This will set him back and you won't be growing him 3 times faster than your neighbour. For a plant that grows this big, it's surprising how small the root system is. If you've not checked your little mister's private parts out yet, then have a look. Go on, I'll wait. Much smaller than you thought, eh? And what does this mean? That he would hate to be sat in a murky swamp for weeks on end. He wants to feel snug and secure in his home, so the pot size shouldn't be too big. In fact, I've never upsized this guy in the 3 years I've owned him, and he's not batted an eyelid. Instead, he's going from strength to strength. So how do you actually tell when your little guy is crying out for a bigger home? I look for 3 things. Is the soil drying out much quicker than it used to? This is a sign there's not enough soil in the pot to hold on to water and nutrients. Is he droopy, even though I watered him only 5 days ago? Again, not enough soil to hold on to water. And is there anything suspect going on, like yellowing leaves? A quick look at my troubleshooting handbook tells me that yellowing leaves is a sign of a root-bound plant. Your guy may be starving for food and the pot size isn't helping him fill his belly. And you can grab a copy of my plant troubleshooting handbook with the link in the description, by the way. It's completely free. Check it out. To show you exactly how slowly the roots of these guys grow, let's pull him out of his pot and have a gander. See? Still plenty of soil and barely any sign of roots. And I've never repotted him since getting him. Any other plant and I would have had to change his nappy at least 4 times by now. Now, let's talk about the single biggest factor that is going to help your little guy put on a major growth spurt. Probably the most asked question in my comment section is, why is my plant not growing, or how can I make my plant grow quicker? And my answer is always the same: light. Seriously, I could just copy and paste it. Your money tree needs sugar to grow big and strong, and lots of it. He's like a 5-year-old boy hunting out his next bag of Haribos. But where's he going to find that delicious bag of sweets? Nope, not the drawer. That bottle of fertilizer isn't going to help our little friend. Well, not much anyway. Instead, he's going to have to make his own Haribos all by himself. Yes, he's going to have to point those sundials up to the sky, i.e. the leaves, and trap the energy from the sun and turn it into sugar to grow up all big and strong. This is photosynthesis, by the way, and the crux of it is this: the more light you give your little guy, the quicker he'll outgrow the trousers he goes to school in. That's an analogy, by the way. I'm not taking my plants to school. Be careful on the direct sun rays though. That can actually do more harm than good to a specimen that hasn't been properly trained. Instead, aim to give your guy a good view of the sky. The more the merrier. Keep him in a corner of the room that has no view of the blue stuff, and you'll have a grumpy fellow that won't eat his vegetables. Now you can train your dragon to slowly munch on direct sun rays, but the battle here is not letting him burn like a Sheffielder in the med. Do it gradually, an hour a day for the first couple of weeks, 2 hours a day for a week after that, and so on. If we can train our plants to enjoy some direct sun rays, they'll be so much better for it. But that's easy for me to say, of course, with me living in the Costa del Sheffield, where the sun comes out to say hello about 8 hours a month. I'll stop, otherwise I'll go on for hours. All this extra light that you'll now be giving your little green friend will mean it'll grow lots of new leaves and they'll size up nicely too. But then that does present another problem. Getting light into the middle of the plant and preventing your guy becoming the lopsided creature from the Black Lagoon. So I like to just go in and turn my little fella every time I water so all sides get their fair share of vitamin D. But what do you do if you only live in a dungeon and can't offer your money tree anything more than a glimmer of the outside world? In this case, grow lights will be your best friend. Look, I've got tons in my home and my plants love me for it. Grow lights are much better than normal LEDs because they offer a bigger spectrum of light that your plants love for turbocharged growth. I use Sansi lights because my plants do great under them, and you can nab an exclusive 25% discount using my code Sheffield25 with the link in the description. Now that you've got the right light set up for your money tree, you might start to notice a little bit of uneven growth. These plants do have a habit of sending out runners from the top. Have you noticed this? We're not talking Usain Bolt here, it's just stems that take on a mind of their own and shoot off much quicker than the rest of their brethren. In this case, I just simply cut it back down to earth. It will make the whole thing look a bit silly otherwise. You might think that pruning your money tree is a no-no, but it's really not. They always grow back, my plant friend. They always grow back. As sure as day turns to night, wherever we make a cut, a new stem will emerge. But this only works on the green part at the top. Don't go hacking into the trunks at the bottom. Who knows what damage that would cause. Now, I've got a bit of bad news for you. If you really want to 3x the growth of your little guy, then you're going to have to put the hard graft in. You see these big beautiful leaves? Well, the bigger the leaves a plant has, the dirtier they will become. So it's a good idea to channel your inner Mrs. Hinch and get cleaning. A thick layer of dust and grime on the leaves will mean no Haribos for your little boy, and we really want to avoid a tantrum, don't we? But what are you doing? Don't do that. Are you mad? That'll drive anyone insane. Look, take him outside, turn on the tap and hose him down Shawshank style. It's quick, it's fun and it does a much better job. Get in all the nooks and crannies and the job will be done in 5 minutes rather than 50. The beauty of this is that you're also ridding the plant of any potential murderous hitchhikers looking to suck the plant dry. I used to take my guys to my shower to do this, and this is a great option if you've not got much outdoor space. This might actually be a better option during winter to avoid him going into shock and losing his limbs to frostbite. So I mentioned how light was the biggie when it comes to turbocharged growth and to basically not worry about fertilizer, and you might have been scratching your head. This is something I've come to slowly realise after lovingly caring for over 200 plants over the last 10 years, and it's changed the way I see things. Fertilizer won't make a plant grow quicker. Don't get me wrong, feeding your plant is crucial. They need their Weetabix just as much as you and me, but it doesn't necessarily make them grow quicker. Think of fertilizer as a natural supplement rather than a miracle growth booster. Pun most definitely intended. Light is the plant's true energy source. More light, more energy, and more growth. Nutrients simply play a supporting role by making sure the plant has the building blocks it needs to keep up with the energy demands. All this waffle is just to say, don't sweat the fertilizer you buy too much. As long as it's suitable for indoor plants, you're good to go. I really don't pay much attention to NPK and all the rest. What's NPK? Exactly. Now then, let's talk about every plant parent's favourite topic, humidity. First things first, don't do this. No harm will come to him, of course, but you've got better things to be doing with your time. This does nothing to boost humidity, contrary to what you might have read. Shoot me down in the comments all you want. I stopped doing this years ago when I realised I was just looking like a Burke setting it all up. In my humble opinion, to get the humidity right for our money tree here, we simply need to pick a spot in our home that is away from radiators, air vents and doors and leave him there. Nothing more. If your home is dry, then sure, he might struggle for a few months with a crispy leaf here or there, but he will adjust. New leaves will come, and you won't have wasted your time setting up these weird contraptions that only spoil the wood that they're sat on. Feel free to mist if you feel content doing it. I'm not here to hate on anyone. I just don't like having wet walls and furniture is all I'm saying. So, what of watering? There must be a hack or two to turbocharge growth, right? Not so much. It's more a case of not killing them with kindness than anything else. You see, the money tree naturally grows in areas where they receive periods of plentiful rainfall, but then periods of drought, hence the thick trunks that store lots of water. So what does this mean for us? To drown your sucker until every inch of the soil has been saturated, and then to not do so again until the soil has dried out completely. This is how much water I give mine, and it looks like a lot, doesn't it? But it really doesn't matter how much you give. You can be there all day if you like, but just make sure you don't do it again for a while. How long you wait depends on where you live. For me, in not so sunny Sheffield, I normally water mine every 2 weeks in the summer and maybe every 3 or 4 weeks in the winter. You can tell when you waited a little too long because the leaves will start to feel a bit soft and droopy. No biggie, because they do bounce back when given a refreshment. I reckon it's better to under rather than overwater your guy. If your little fellow is droopy, even though you watered him 3 days ago, and then 3 days before that, and then 3 days before that, and so on, and he still won't perk up, then chances are you're drowning your poor sucker. Annoyingly, the signs of under and overwatering are pretty darn similar. Yay for us. Check the roots and see if anything is black, mushy and with a nasty pong. Cut out the nasty, repot and say a prayer. So I've not changed the pot that my guy lives in since I bought him, and that means that I've not changed the soil either. And this isn't a great idea, truth be told. If you notice yours is looking a little depressed even though the light and the water is spot on, then a cheeky repot into some fresh soil might be just the thing to wake him up. I often do this trick with my plants. If I can't find anything obvious wrong with them, I often repot and hope for the best, and most of the time things do improve. I guess it's similar to living in the same underwear for years at a time. No one wants that, least of all your other half. So let's give mine a revamp with some Cybertanica Universal Mix and see how we get on. You can get a 10% discount off this stuff with my link in the description, by the way. Well worth it. I do a deep dive on how to water your indoor plants like a pro in this video here, so make sure you check it out and I'll see you there.